Hello and welcome everyone. In this video, we are going to understand the concept of aura and chakras. It's a beautiful, very interesting topic, and it is of great importance in energy work, whether it is Reiki or whether it is any other modality. Understanding of aura and chakras is going to support you everywhere. So let's, start understanding what do we mean by aura. And what do we mean by chakras? While I'm going to take these two topics as subtopics, aura and chakras, but I'm bringing them together because they are completely interlinked. The aura builds up the chakras build up the aura. Both of their energies, this is where the entry and the exit of the energy happens. And these are just two sub parts of something which is called as our energy system. So the root of this diagram of this flowchart will be our energy system, which we will understand as aura and then chakras. Okay. So I have also drawn certain images on paper for you guys for your ease, and I will show them to you soon. First, let us understand what do we really mean by aura. You must have heard a lot of your friends, or you might have used this term. Either if you're in energy work, then you must have used it consciously with awareness. Even otherwise, in our social circles, a lot of people say their aura was like this. I just went there and the aura of that place is like this, or anything like that. We often pass on comments on certain vibrations of a place, of a trip, of a person, and sometimes we buy certain things and we say we just bought it because the aura of it was so good. Or we say, oh, I sat with XYZ person and the aura is so depleting that I felt drained. What do we mean by this? सिंपल सी बात है, उनकी एनर्जी ऐसी थी. Their energy was such. Aura is nothing but the energy part. It is the energy which surrounds us, which belongs to us, which is ours. It is the energy component. This body, this is the physical component. Similarly, we do not only have physical body, we have many bodies. And the component which is in the energetic space, which is subtle in aspect, this body is gross, it's solid. Even certain layers of auras are said to be solid as per science, because now aura is even recognized by science because it's an electromagnetic field, and I'm going to come to that. But the subtle aspect of my body, if some of you can, you might be able to see a layer around me. If you can, like, you can see something around me, that is aura. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying that because when I am recording this video, I am able to visualize something around me, and we are definitely, you all will develop this ability to see auras as well for yourself and for others very soon. And especially with your, powerful, diligent practice of Reiki, definitely you will open up channels in your body. But then how do we understand it? If it is just our energy, then what is the difference between aura? Then why we have brought in this term of chakras? So for now, just understand aura as the subtle aspect of our body, which surrounds us. Underline this, which surrounds us, जो हमारे आस पास है, जो मेरी आभा, जो मेरी काया है, जो मेरी द एनर्जी फॉर्म में जो मेरी सटल बॉडी है, इसको हम हिंदी में आभा मंडल भी बोलते हैं. Aura is also called as Abha Mandal. Okay, it is something which is, as per science, is electromagnetic in nature. And coming from science background, I'm also going to give you my understanding of aura very soon. It is also called as the bioelectric field of the body. But these terms are great. But again, by now, when you're watching this video, you must have realized, I believe that these terms are great to study things. They are great in theory, but how do we understand it in human experience? So how does this aura get formed? What is the difference? How does the aura look like? So I'm going to show you a version, something that I drew for you guys, and then, go forward. So just understand this image. Just see this part of the image. If you can see this, just ignore the numbering that I have given over here. I'm going to come to chakras very soon. But see that there is your body, right? This is your body. And then the aura is something which is like this. Can you just see this much right now? Your body is inside and there is something. Acha, do not count that if I've drawn 3 layers, there are 3 layers only. I've just drawn it for representation. I'm going to tell you about layers as well. It's just that my physical body is surrounded by something which is like a shield. It is an energetic shield which surrounds my body. It can be divided into 2 parts first to understand. There is one aura which is very physical to me, which is very, very physical, as in it is just 2 to 3 inches away. It is 2 to 3 inches away from my physical body, which surrounds me just like, my body. It is the first shield around my body, like this. This 2 to 3 inches away from my body. Over here, this is my aura. Okay. And then there is the larger version of the aura, which is, because there are many layers in the aura. This is the first, you can call this as physical shield aura, if you want to understand it as a term. But otherwise, I just say that this is the first layer of the aura around you, which is 2 to 3 inches away from your body. It's little above your body. And then there is this, there are shields, there are layers of energy, just like a cloud. See yourself as if there's a cocoon around you. It's a cocoon shaped energy form, a normal aura. If your aura is disrupted, if your aura is affected by some kind of energy which is not energy giving, which is not life giving, then the aura sometimes gets deflated, ruptured, or changes its shape. Sometimes there are different defects seen in aura, like holes, etc., etc. And we are going to come to why the study of aura is important. But I'm just going to show you another diagram that what I'm saying is this. There is this first layer of aura around you, and then there are many other layers. This is the real shield actually. This is the energetic shield. And this red part is the physical aura. Why it is the physical aura? Because it is very adjacent to the physical body, but the other layers of energy are different layers which act as shield for you. So whether it is some illness, whether it is any happening that is coming to you, whether it is attracting any illness, any virus, bacteria, any accident, or even good luck, opportunities, everything which reaches you follows first the path of the aura. And if it passes the aura, then it reaches you. That is why we say, if our aura is strong, we are shielded, we are protected. So for protection, we always focus upon strengthening our aura. And then what is aura? Aura is nothing but our energy, strengthening our energy. So हम ये जो healing देते हैं, हम जो blessings लेते हैं, हम all these energy work that we do, where does it actually happen? If I'm sending you Reiki, where is it coming? Where is it being received? Everything happens in aura. If you are receiving any illness, that undesirable energy, where is it stored? In your aura, energetically. If I'm sending you healing, where is the blessing stored? In your aura, energetically. Your energy component is aura. Okay? Have we understood that now? Now I'm going to come in a little more detail about aura chakra relationship, but now let me explain what are chakras. So when we say chakra, so what do you think chakra means? Chakra is a Sanskrit word for a wheel. So it's a chakra. It's a wheel-shaped form that lies in our energy body again. Can you see chakras? Yes. Today, we even have Kirlian cameras, and now we have more developed cameras, and you guys can find about it. It's all over the internet, and aura chakra photography is possible. But can we see them otherwise? Meditatively, yes. But if you're going to cut your body, then there is no chakra as such physically present. But everything lies in the energy body and you can feel it. The more you will become sensitive to energy, jab ye haath, once these will become sensitive, you will feel it. I don't have to prove anything to you. I have to share my wisdom to you. You will feel it. Gradually, you will just start realizing after a few months of Reiki practice. And then, when you will proceed with the levels and degrees and the intensity of energy experience will increase, you will start feeling there is something there. And then you will start seeing as well. Once your third eye starts opening, once your, the inner vision starts opening, you will feel it, you will see it. Yes, you can, definitely. Then how are these chakras formed and where are these present? So, as per even, a lot of Indian knowledge, as per the system of Ayurveda as well, because again, chakra is a Sanskrit word which also comes from the Indian texts. Our body has 72,000 nadis. I'm saying nadis, not nerves. So मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ that you have nasein. You don't have nasein. You might have I'm honestly not aware of the number of nerves and arteries and the veins that we have in our body. But nadi, what is a nadi? A nadi is something similar to how you would see a nerve in your body, how you would see a artery or a vein in your body, but it is in the energetic plane. It is in the aura level of your body. They're energy tubes. Visualize and understand them as small pipes. Just like blood flows in our physical body, energy flows in nadis. Energy flows in these energy tubes. And where are these energy tubes? So in Chinese medicine, somebody called them meridians. In some other system, they must be calling them something else. But a lot of systems all over the world believe that there are certain energy meridians, there are certain energy tubes all around us through which the energy moves, through which I am alive, through which my prana happens. They are all around me. They are all around me as a network. And the Indian texts believe that there are 72,000 nadis. Wherever a bunch of nadis are, brought together, a chakra forms. But like that, there would be so many bunches. Because just understand, if one nadi has certain energy flowing, a bunch of nadis would form something like this. If one nadi is like this and a bunch of nadis is like this, definitely the energy is accumulated and amplified because it is brought together. Something is formed, and this is called as a chakra. But like this, we would be having so many thousands of chakras. And yes, we have chakras all over our body. I have a chakra, you have all of us have a chakra here, everywhere. We have these energy portals called as chakras, which is nothing but a network of energy tubes. We have it all over our body. But how do we study them? And how do we understand which one is important, which one is connected to what? It is just too vast for us to study it at initial levels. Yes, when you go deeper in the energy study, you can definitely study most of them. And the Indian texts do talk a lot about them. And today, even, globally, so many authors have talked about them. But there are certain points in our body which are very significant, where the networks of the energy tubes form networks. So many networks like this come together and a plexus of energy is formed. A big bunch of energy is formed where 10,000 nadis come together. That is where a major chakra is formed. So 72,000 nadis, if we see approximately 10,000 coming together, 7 chakras come up, right? So we have 7 chakras in our body. And then where are they? The first chakra is at the sthan of our gonads. Right, I will show you diagrammatically as well. Right at the position of your gonad, your genital organ, is the first chakra, the first portal of energy, the first network where 10,000 nadis energetically come together. They form an energetic chakra. They form an energetic a portal, something which is spherical in nature. And if we understand physics, we know that through the surface tension thing, even a water droplet or so many things just take a form of sphere, because that is how the surface tension works. And similarly, in our energetic body, the chakra takes a spherical form. The first chakra is at the base of the spine, okay, near our genital organ. We are going to learn the colors and the names, everything. First, let us understand where they are. Then, all of us have a navel. 2 fingers below our navel, we have our second chakra. 2 fingers below our navel, we have our second chakra. 4 fingers, your 4 fingers, not my 4 fingers. Your 4 fingers above navel, you have another chakra, your third chakra. In between your lungs, in the center of your body, you have your fourth chakra. Okay? Throat. Fifth chakra. This is your fifth chakra. Between your eyebrows. Sixth chakra. Top of your head. Your seventh chakra. Have you been able to identify where are these 7 chakras? The first chakra is at the base of the spine, at your genital organ. Second chakra is 2 fingers below your navel. Third chakra, 4 fingers above your navel. Fourth chakra between your lungs, the center of your body. Fifth chakra, the throat area at your neck. Sixth chakra between your eyebrows. And then seventh chakra, top of your head, the crown of your head. Okay, we are now very well aware of the locations. Let me show you how it looks. So I just showed you this diagram. This is how your body looks. Between your legs, from where the legs are divided, is your first chakra. Then above it, below your navel, is second chakra. Then above it, third chakra. And then between your hands and over here, you have your fourth chakra. Then your throat, you have fifth chakra, the third eye. And at the spot of your third eye, you have the sixth chakra. And on the top of your head, you have your seventh chakra. Is it clear? Yeah. Now let's understand their names, okay? So you are all provided with a comprehensive manual for Reiki level 1 and everything is written in that. I would highly suggest listening to my videos and then reading for chakras especially, because chakras are given in detail in your manuals. So do read the chakras after you watch this video from your manual. Okay. So the first chakra is called as, I'm going to give you Hindi, the Sanskrit as well as the English names. First chakra is called as Mool Aadhar Chakra. In English, root chakra. Mool Aadhar. It is the Mool Aadhar of your existence, the Mooladhara Chakra. The root chakra, also called as the base chakra. Okay? The color of this chakra, in the energy color, the frequency it vibrates in is red color. Okay? And all of the chakras also have the 5 elements associated with them. We understand that there are 5 elements through which the creation has happened. Everything in the universe is made up of the Panch Mahabhutas, the Panch Tattvas, yeah? Which is earth, which is water, fire, air, and space. Don't worry, you are going to be very sure of these by the end of this course. So each chakra corresponds to one of the elements in our body. So the root chakra, the Mooladhara chakra, is red in vibration, red color. and corresponds to earth element, Prithvi Tattva. Okay, going up, second chakra, it is right 2 fingers below our navel, called as the Swadhisthana Chakra. In English, we call it as sacral chakra. Sacral. Okay. Also called as Hara chakra. Hara. Hara. Hara chakra. Okay. The energy frequency in which it vibrates is orange color. Orange. I'm going to give you a method through which you can recall and remember all of the colors as well. Nothing to worry. As of now, I'm just going slow so that if you're very new to these things, it should be clear, and everything is given in manual. And I want you to make notes for your learnings as well so that you have your own journal of Reiki. The element associated with sacral chakra is water element, Jal Tattva. Okay. Going up, 4 fingers above your navel, your solar plexus chakra. In Sanskrit, it is called as Manipur chakra. Manipur chakra, also called as solar plexus chakra. In English, plexus means network. So again, I have never read it anywhere. It's just my energetic understanding that when we say 72,000 nadis, every chakra has 10,000 nadis, but then there would be 12,000 nadis, for the last chakra. Those 12,000, as per my vision, are around the solar plexus region. It's the biggest plexus of the nadis in my understanding. That is why it's solar plexus chakra. Vibrates in the color yellow. Yellow. And the element associated is fire. Agni Tattva. Okay. Then this chakra, the fourth chakra, in Sanskrit it is called as Anahat chakra. Anahat chakra. Also called as heart chakra. It vibrates in the color of green. Okay, the human version of this is seen as green, but in the spiritual version of heart chakra, it is also seen as pink color often. Yeah, so the spiritual aspect of it is very pink in nature, but otherwise the vibration that it comes under is green, pure green. All these colors are very bright red, bright orange, bright yellow, bright green. The element associated is air element, Vayu Tattva. Okay. And then over here comes the fifth chakra, which is called as Vishuddhi. Vishuddhi chakra. Some people also call it as Vishuddha. Vishuddha. Okay. So I call it Vishuddhi. It's mostly written as Vishuddhi in texts. And in English, you call it as throat chakra. Okay. Also called as vocal chakra. The color associated with this chakra is blue, pure blue, bright blue. The element associated, till here it was air, after here, this element is space element, Akash Tattva, also called as ether. Okay. So the 5 elements have been completed. Now above space, what lies? Space. So certain texts believe that the upper 2 chakras also belong to the space element. I prefer using the word space till here. We can say then this is ether, which is unknown, which is beyond space. So hence it is a part of space. It is a part of ether only. Okay. So this chakra, the 6th chakra, is third eye chakra. Third eye chakra, also called as Agya chakra. Agya. Okay. A lot of texts also write it as Ajna. Ajna chakra. But I prefer calling it as Agya chakra or third eye chakra. Okay. Often it is written as bro chakra because it is between the brows, but it's better you use the word third eye. Then the color of this is indigo, royal blue indigo. Yeah. And then the element I suggested is ether. Okay. The space element. Beyond space lies space. The 7th and the last major chakra. Okay. In English, we call it as crown chakra. Crown. It is the crown of a body. So it is crown chakra. It is also known as Brahma chakra. Okay. The color is violet, pure bright violet color. And the element again is ether. It's space. Yeah. So let me now quickly revise the names. Root chakra, also called as Mooladhara chakra, red in color and earth is the element. Swadhisthana chakra, also called as sacral chakra, orange in the color, water element. Third chakra, solar plexus chakra, also called as Manipura chakra, yellow in color with fire element. Heart chakra, Anahat chakra, in the green color with air element, Vayu Tattva. Fifth chakra, throat chakra, also called as Vishuddhi chakra, space element in blue color. Third eye chakra, also called as Agya chakra, indigo in color and a space element. Seventh chakra, Sahasrara chakra, violet in color, space element. All this is crown chakra. Yeah? Did you realize something? How are the colors in order of? Do you remember Vibgyor? Do you remember the version that we use for rainbow, Vibgyor? Those are the colors of our chakras. So just imagine that there is the cosmic light which comes from the Brahmand, from the universe, and see there's a prism. So since I'm a science student, I know if it has to form Vibgyor like this, the prism has to be inverted. Yeah. So see like an inverted prism above our head. The cosmic light comes, falls onto this prism, separates and disperses into 7 colors. V, I, B, G, Y, O, R. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Ho gaya yaad? Learnt? Simple as that. Vibgyor. And then how do we remember the elements? Which is the heaviest of all? Which is the most gross and solid in form? Always settles at the bottom. So earth element is at the base. The base is always formed with solid. That is what root chakra is. And then what is the liquefied version of it? If we melt a solid, it becomes liquid. Above the earth element, above root chakra, lies sacral chakra, which is water element. Right? Water element doesn't only mean it's water only. It's anything which is liquid, which is fluid in nature. What's the further, subtler form of a water? Fire, heat, right? So we have earth, then we have water, and then over them, around them, you know, the fire comes up, the heat is there, which is the solar plexus chakra. What is above a fire? Vapors. What is vapor a part of? What are these particles a part of? Air. Vayu. That is Vayu. Why does space have to be corresponded to sky? No. Space is not equal to sky. Space is everywhere. Yeah? Space is between you and me. This is space. Space has air element in it. The vastness of space is all around. And that is what it is. Space, space, space. Or you may call it as ether. Akash. तो हो गए ना सारे एलिमेंट्स भी याद. पृथ्वी, जल, अग्नि, वायु, आकाश. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Simple as that. Are you guys clear till here? Yeah? Let's go a little forward. अब थोड़ा सा समझते हैं डिटेल में. ये नॉलेज तो आपको कहीं भी मिल जाएगी. Now I'll give you little extra version of understanding aura and chakras and how they are related. Okay, so let's get ready. for that. So in understanding aura and chakra in more detail, let us understand about three very important nadis. I talked about nadis with you all, right? So what are nadis? They're energy tubes. But then there are three nadis which are very significant in our life, in, allowing this life to happen the way it is happening. So which are these three nadis? First, there are two nadis which are opposite in nature, which are opposite in elements and characteristics. Sorry, the first nadi is called as Ida nadi, IDA in English. Okay, Ida nadi. And the second nadi is called as Pingala nadi. Ida and Pingala. Ida and Pingala are two nadis which complement each other but are opposite in nature, just like yin and yang, Shiv and Shakti, black and white, masculine and feminine, sun and moon, day and night. Similar are the characteristics of Ida and Pingala, very important energy tubes. And then the third name, very important name, is Sushumna. Sushumna. Okay? Have you understood? Sushumna Nadi. So what happens is the Ida and Pingala are helical in nature. They are helical, just like a DNA. The image of a DNA you see, or if you are unable to understand the word helical, for now, visualize them as forming spiral. Okay? One nadi flows like this, say anti-clockwise. The other nadi flows clockwise. If one nadi starts from here, the other nadi starts from here. Of course, because I've told you, they're complementary yet opposite to each other. So, just like you see a DNA, it's just see it as the energetic version of that. You know, the Ida and the Pingala are helical in nature. Okay, they form spiral form. They are coiling all the time around us energetically. One is going up, the other is coming down. One is going up, the other is going down. Okay, if one corresponds to the left aspect of our body, the other corresponds to the right aspect of our body. And over here, Ida is the feminine aspect, Pingala is the masculine aspect. Ida is also called as Chandra Nadi. Pingala is also called as Surya Nadi. Ida is connected to the left nostril. To connect and to work energetically with Ida in yogic traditions, left nostril, left side breathing is used, and the Surya Nadi, the Pingala, is connected to our right nostril. Okay, have we understood this now? In between these both, there is an energy tube, the biggest energy tube in our body, as in the largest in diameter as well, is the central tube, which is called as Sushumna. Okay, which is called as Sushumna. So for example, I'm going to show you something like this. Something very erect and, very straight. Sushumna looks like this. Okay. And around Sushumna are coiled, are spirally moving the two nadis, the Ida and the Pingala. Then why am I bringing this topic here? It has a significance with chakras. Wherever the Ida and the Pingala also, we have understood that a portal, a plexus, a network of 10,000 nadis gives rise to a chakra. But wherever these nadis come closer to each other, they give rise to a chakra. I'm going to show it to you diagrammatically as well. But before that, all the energy work that we do can support and stimulate Ida and Pingla, but the working of Sushumna is not that we can hold or we can control. Sushumna cleanses itself on its own. The more energy work, the more breath work, all the meditation that we are doing is stimulating Ida and Pingla differently. But the more they are cleansed, Sushumna cleanses itself on its own. Sushumna is something which facilitates its own awakening, its own healing on its own. And we indirectly, you don't have to really consciously work in Reiki on Ida and Pingla, but with all the healing that you're going to do, with all the chakra work that you're going to do, you're going to support the cleansing, the purification of these energy tubes, which are Ida and Pingla, and thousands of many other energy tubes. Okay? So, how does it work? Let's see diagrammatically now. So I've drawn this for you. So in-person classes, I draw these on a board, but I'm liking this method as well of online teaching. So consider one color to be Ida and the other color to be Pingala, and in between them is Sushumna. Okay? And wherever all these three are seen coming together, Sushumna I haven't drawn, but because that has to be, understood that it is in the center, it is the central nadi. Wherever that happens, a chakra is formed. If you can see, I have drawn circles. The conjoint, the place where these things meet, they do not touch each other, but where they get close, where the energy, see energy as a 3D form, where this electromagnetic field comes together. A portal, a bundle, a network of energy called as a chakra is formed. Okay, is this much clear first? Then I'll go ahead. So now let's move ahead and understand another diagram, which is this. I'm going to explain now. So if you were to see me sideways, if I were to show myself from side, so the diagram that I'm going to show you next is going to be a sideways diagram. Okay, that if we see a person not from front and not from back, but from side, are these energies only in front then? Are these chakras, where are they? Are they on the front? Are they on the body, physical body? No. Since they're in the energetic form, you can see them as, as on the both these sides. When I meditate, I see them inside. It's not that they are only on the front or only on the back. It's their energy beams. It's just like a bulb. A bulb doesn't give energy in one direction only. It gives energy everywhere. So imagine these as light bulbs in your body. The energy is radiating and it's spherical in nature. So see them as 7 suns in your body. Jaise suraj chamakta hai. So then a lot of texts talk about the funnel diagram of chakras, which I've realized in my experience. A lot of people think that chakras form funnels. They do not form literal funnels. They are not literal funnels. It was just a method to explain that how the energy radiates. The energy is being radiated in front as well as in the back. So that is, where I would like to introduce this funnel diagram, which is this. I'm going to explain it to you. So we learned that root chakra is at the base of the spine and the crown chakra is on the top of the head. There are no two directions to it. Base of the spine will open in the bottom. The chakra is not exactly at the genital organ. Actually, it's in the ending point from where our legs divide, at the base of the spine. So the opening of root chakra, the energy flows like this, all way, in all directions towards the bottom like this. So when it flows like this, we see it as a funnel. That is why we use the funnel diagram to explain. Similarly, for crown chakra, the energy flows like this. That is why we often do, something like this, because we always use these hand gestures often as well, because the energy is flowing like this. So apart from these two chakras, which have only one single opening, root chakra has only a bottom opening, and crown chakra has only a topward, the outward and topward opening. The other five chakras, sacral, solar, heart, throat, and third eye, have two openings. Can you understand that now? That is what I'm trying to explain with this diagram. Root chakra has one opening. Crown chakra has one opening. Rest all other chakras have two openings. Can you see it now? Yeah? So if we count the number of major chakra openings in our body, count them all, guys. 1, 5 in front, 6, 1 in top, 7, 5 in the back, 12. We have 12 major chakra openings. That is why the concept of front and back chakras comes from. Chakra is one only, but the openings are two. A lot of people, I have personally seen a lot of chakra practitioners count these as two chakras. It's not two chakras. It's one chakra only, but the openings are on two directions. In my understanding, they are anyway multi-directional. It shines like a sun. Okay? So now, one more thing. Just see if this is giving out energy in this direction and all these chakras are giving so much of energy in this direction, and this is giving energy so much in this direction, and then this is giving energy so much in this direction. Just imagine the amount of brightness, the light all around this. Do you see something 3D forming? The energy, the chakras were inside, but the energy is radiating outwards as well. Follow my fingers. What am I hinting to? The energy of chakras is giving rise to the formation of my aura. Yes or no? And then seeing this diagram, if we just see the aura diagram, the energy of my aura will define how much energy enters and flows through my, my protective, my shield, my energy fields will define the strength of my auras. Kitni bahari energy, positive या negative, pleasant या unpleasant, desirable या undesirable, कितने मेरे शरीर में प्रवेश कर रही है और मेरे शरीर को छोड़ रही है, वो सब define कौन कर रहा है? वो तो मेरा aura define कर रहा है. So my aura is going to tell you how healthy my chakras are. And the healthier my chakras are, is going to radiate more energy, is going to tell how strong my aura is. So do you understand that how aura and chakra are related to each other and yet are two different parts of our energy system? The energy of my aura supports the energy of my chakras. If my aura is weak, any external energy, pleasant or unpleasant, can enter my chakra system and can affect my body. And when my energetic body and my physical body are the constituents of myself, my real self, if my energetic body is not well, my physical body will not be well. If my energetic body is not well, my physical life, my materialistic life will not be well. But if I work on these, or if my chakras are strong, then my funnels will be more wider and bigger. The radiation of energy will be higher. And that will lead to the formation. That will lead to the generation of a more powerful and a strong aura. This is where aura and chakra are concepts which are interrelated and interconnected to each other. So when we heal ourselves, we are not only healing one aspect. When we heal ourselves, we are healing our energy body, which is our aura, as well as our chakras all the time. So if we are doing a chakra healing, it is naturally strengthening my aura. if I'm doing an aura cleaning, it is naturally cleaning my chakras. Yes. So this is how this is related. Now, one more addition that I often give in workshops, which comes from my background of biology. Now, this is a part which, if it sounds very difficult or technical to you, you can skip it. You can actually skip it. It's just that I like giving this additional information about aura and chakras in my body, because this is my personal finding, as in my understanding energetically, and also as a biology student. There is something that we understand as action potential and the reduction potential happening in our nerves. Yeah. So what happens is, basically, when I tap here, my brain gets to know that I've been tapped here. When I pinch myself, I am, I feel the pain. How are the messages being carried? Throughout our day, throughout the time we are alive in a normal, healthy body, there are certain ions which are coming out and which are going away, which are coming in and out through the nerves endings, through the nerve cells in our body. This happens throughout our nervous system in our whole body. There is this ionic exchange. If I were to explain it diagrammatically, it is, you can read about it. It is called as action and reduction potential in our body. Just understand like this. There are chloride ions inside the membrane. And since chloride ions are relatively larger in size, they do not travel, they are inside the membrane. But then there are sodium and potassium ions which continue to, there are sodium gates and potassium gates. When the gates open up and the gates close, and sometimes the positive ions go inside and, neutralize, then sometimes they go out and they form a positive potential outside. The exchange keeps on happening, through which our body passes signals, through which my nervous system operates. And then there comes a time when there is this ionic discharge that happens when the chloride ions form the negative charge inside the membrane, and the sodium potassium ions form, and all of these things are very momentary. It's not like कि ऐसा ये 1 minute के लिए हुआ फिर रुक गया. These are happening within fractions of seconds and fractions of milliseconds. The efficiency of body is beyond our understanding. So all the time, this electronic discharge, this ionic discharge is also happening. And it looks like this if I were to show it to you diagrammatically. Using the knowledge of physics, we understand whenever an ionic discharge happens, whenever this potential is formed, electricity is generated. Electricity is generated. We also understand through physics that wherever electricity is generated, it gives rise to magnetic forces as well. Electric field, I use the word electricity. Electric field is generated. Wherever electric field is generated, a magnetic field perpendicular to it is formed. And wherever a magnetic field is generated, it naturally gives rise to an electric field. An electric field and a magnetic field are perpendicular to each other, which can be understood with this diagram. And these are technical terms. If you want to skip this part, you can, but I'm explaining it for those who are curious about the scientific understanding, the scientific aspect of it, which looks like that if the electric field was the red color and the magnetic field was the purple color, they are 90-degree to each other. And it forms a 3D structure, three-dimensional field, which is called as EMF, electromagnetic field. And then go back to the starting of the lecture. What did I say? Aura is an electromagnetic field. The potential that is happening in our nerves, in the nervous system, the action and the reduction potential, which is happening throughout the day, throughout our life, is giving rise, is generating, is producing an electromagnetic field in our body. And that electromagnetic field is nothing but the electromagnetic field which is all around us, the bioelectric field which is nothing but our Abha Mandal, our aura. Yes or no? Yeah? Interesting, right? So there is so much. There is so much. When we talk about aura and chakras, there is so much that can be explored in so many depths. And while this is a Reiki course, and I'm going to make sure that I give everything that a Reiki practitioner would need, the possibilities in these learnings are limitless. It's limitless. So I would highly recommend and promote and support and suggest, read about these as much as you want. Explore chakras. Chakra is something which is ocean of possibilities, because since it is the the source and the portal of our energy, and we all are energy beings in the end. Anything that that is in the world is an energy in the end. What is an atom? What is a proton? It is just a vibration in the end, right? When everything is that vibration only, why are we not working on this vibrational science to harness the healing aspect of it? So let's start this journey of vibrational understanding, vibrational knowledge, and harnessing their healing powers. So this is where I would like to conclude my today's lecture on aura and chakras. I would highly recommend that you watch this video twice. And before I complete this video, so one thing, about aura. So now that I've explained chakras, our aura has many layers. And while these layers also involve some koshas, I'm going to talk about Panch koshas in detail in Reiki level 3. Okay. But for now, I'm going to explain how there are layers in our aura. Every chakra has its constituent in aura. Now that I've explained that aura and chakra are interconnected and interrelated to each other, every chakra has its constituent place and position in our aura. And if you have understood that, that means our aura has 7 layers, one for each chakra. And each chakra's layer in our aura is further divided into 7 layers, 7 mini layers, 7 sub layers. So if we mathematically count our aura, through calculation, we can say it has 49 layers, 49 sub layers. But to understand, our aura just has many, many layers, and to understand the major aspect of it, it has 7 layers. And a healthy aura, a healthy aura should minimum be of, 10 to 12 meters. A normal aura, a very normal aura of any person is around 3 meters. If it is not of 3 meters, then the energy is severely affected. But a healthy, energized aura, a balanced aura would be 10 to 12 or 20 meters. But the more energetically active and powerful you are, your aura will become stronger and stronger. And the more powerful aura you have, the better life you will live. Aura powerful होना चाहिए. हमारी energy, हमारी vibrational field इतनी powerful होनी चाहिए that we attract the higher vibrational, the pleasantness of life. And the weaker the aura is, the more disrupted the aura is, the more tuta-futa the aura is, the more holes or hollowness, the voids the aura has. That is the source of the illness, disease, challenges in life. That is where we attract the unpleasant circumstances in our life. So that is why we say maintain your vibrations high, raise your energies, because what will that do? That will support the field of aura. And how will Reiki help us is, it will boost up our chakra and aura system. And that is where healing happens. So now that we have the foundations of aura and chakra, while there is so much more, and we are going to understand about these things more and more in depth as we proceed, something in this level, something in the upcoming levels, we will have a better clarity about aura and chakras. But now it's time that we begin the practice of Reiki in our lives. So looking forward to see you in other videos of mine. I will complete this lecture here. Thank you so much. Om Shanti.